Financial independence. Who is she? Sounds cute, but also prohibitively unattainable? Something that like tech bros are really into, but isn't for someone like me. Hey y'all, I'm Kara Perez, founder of Bravely Go, and welcome to our monthly show, Why Are You Like This? A patron-supported show where I break down a different financial system and explain how it came to be. Today I want to break down financial independence and how normal people can make strides towards achieving it. Put very simply, financial independence is having enough money in assets or passive cash flow to not need to work. You're able to cover all of your bills, all of your wants, all of your needs without having to trade your time for a paycheck. Now, if this sounds like a scam or some rich people nonsense TM, stay with me. Let's talk about how you watching this right now, can achieve this even if you have totally normal finances. The idea of not wanting to work is by no means new. And wealthy people since the beginning of time have led FI lives. Think of the Medicis in Renaissance Italy, who did not have to work because, their serfs were doing all the work for them and they were able to do things like be patrons to Michelangelo. Or think of all the children of very wealthy people now who don't need to have a 9-to-5 job because they have generational wealth. They are all living an FI lifestyle. The idea of FI in a more modern context, like in a non-Medici kind of way, has a lot of roots in the intentional living community, specifically the Back to the Land movement of the 1970s. This was a movement where people left big cities and more traditional jobs to go move to rural areas and live off the land, to try and grow their own food, make their own clothing, and just kind of live these more simple, idealistic rural lifestyles. The idea of living simply and foregoing a lot of modern life choices is really a bedrock of the financial independence movement today, especially this idea of what is enough money. The people in the Back to the Land movements were able to lower their personal financial needs to a point where they were able to say, no, I don't need X, Y, and Z physical item. All I need is enough money to be able to purchase my land and the tools I need to work it. The more modern mainstream definition of financial independence largely comes from two sources: the book Your Money or Your Life by Vicki Robin and Joe Dominguez, and the blog Mr. Money Mustache by Pete Adeni. Both Your Money or Your Life and Mr. Money Mustache are personal accounts of people who achieved financial independence at a pretty young age and then started to talk to other people about it. And both are often shared today as the starting point for a lot of people's financial independence journey. Mr. Money Mustache in particular, because Pete was writing a blog that was easy to share online and come back to day after day, became wildly popular after the Great Recession. His blog really took off about 2013, 2014, and Pete's story is that he was a very high-earning engineer who had very low cost of living and worked to get his cost of living even lower. I'm talking like $24,000 a year for a family of 3 in Colorado, and how all of this tied into the idea of financial independence. Mr. Money Mustache is the blog that launched 1,000 financial independence blogs. And right when FI started to make its mainstream debut, largely around 2015 to 2018, mainstream financial media really did focus on people whose stories mirrored Mr. Money Mustache. So it was a lot of straight, white, high-earning couples in fields like law, tech, and healthcare. Thus, the first round of FI backlash was born. The thought being it's easy to save 50, 60, 70% of your income when you are in a 2-income household and the joint income is over $300K a year. But luckily, especially in the past couple of years, the FI space has gotten a lot more diverse and it is rich with voices from all kinds of different backgrounds. Today you can hop on the internet and hop on social media and find stories of single people, of couples of color, low-income people, disabled people, queer people, all pursuing FI. I myself am on the path to FI and I plan to achieve financial independence by 42. I am financially single. I have a partner, T-Bone, but we don't share any money. He is not contributing to my investment accounts. And I am using my entrepreneurship to fund my FI plan. I'm going to drop a few of my favorite FI resources in the description, as well as a few of my favorite people whose stories I feel really inspired by who are pursuing FI. I share all of this because I want you to know that if you're FI curious, there is absolutely space for you in this movement. And I am extending my hand right now to invite you on in. If you think about FI as like a house party, it's like I'm already inside and I just texted you like, let me know when you get here so I can meet you at the door. And even if you're not someone who is in a joint household with a 300K income, there are absolutely steps that you can take to build financial stability and eventually financial independence. And those steps are: number 1, do a financial audit. This is the first step that you have to take if you want to change any area of your life, but especially if you want to reach FI. I always tell people you can't change anything if you don't know anything. So you have to sit down and look at all your spending, look at all your income to understand the truth about your financial picture. So light a candle, get yourself a tasty treat, put on some of your favorite tunes, and dive into your numbers. Pull up all your sources of income, so whatever you're making from your main job, if you have a side hustle or alimony, child support, anything like that that is bringing you money, write that down. Next up, let's look at your expenses. So log into your credit card company, log into your bank account, look at your debit spending, and write down every little thing that you spent money on in the last month. Now, quick note. This exercise can be really difficult for a lot of people because it can come with a lot of feelings of judgment or shame or regret or embarrassment. And that's because we live in a money culture that shames a lot of choices. I mean, you hop on any social media platform and you are going to find some person yelling at you for buying a coffee and telling you that you've ruined your entire financial life. And if you see that and then you go to do this exercise and you notice that you've gone to a coffee shop 4 times in the last month, it's really easy to berate yourself, judge yourself, and be mad with yourself, and ultimately end up in this place where you think, oh, I'm bad with money and I'll always be bad with money. It is really hard to change your life when you are starting in a place of shame or embarrassment. So instead of doing this exercise and judging the hell out of yourself for it, do this exercise with a little bit of grace. We don't need to listen to the negative Neds out there, and we don't need to be judging ourselves 24/7. Forgive your past self for any of the decisions that you made and understand that moving forward, you can make new and different decisions. Remind yourself that the whole point of this exercise is to change your financial life. Just by simply sitting down and doing this review, you are making a good financial choice. And that's proof that you can make more good financial choices in the future. We have a 30-day spending tracker included in our budget workbook, which I'll link to in the description. The budget workbook also comes with 8 chapters that teaches you how to build a budget that aligns with your specific values and your specific lifestyle. So instead of trying to adhere to someone else's spending, you can create a plan that works for your own life. Step 2 is to identify your liabilities. Liabilities are things that cost you money, and debt is the biggest one. So in the same spreadsheet, add a column for all of your debt. Put down anything like credit card debt, medical debt, student loans, car loans, etc., etc. Add up how much you pay a month in debt, and again, we are doing this without judgment. I personally had to take out student loans to go to college. Like, if I hadn't taken out the loans, I would not have been able to go to college. And if I hadn't gone to college, I wouldn't be the person I am today. So no judgment. But next, we need to make a plan to reduce these liabilities, aka pay off that shit. Because simply put, the formula is the less you pay in debt, the more money you can save. The more money you can save, the more you can invest. The more you can invest, the faster you'll get to financial independence. Step 3 is to identify your saving and investment vehicles. Critical to reaching financial independence is increasing your saving and investment rate. And in order to do that, you have to have a place that you can put the money. So you need to have these accounts. So get yourself a high yield savings account, get yourself a retirement investment account, and get yourself a taxable brokerage account, which is a non-retirement specific investment account. If you're feeling overwhelmed because you're like, oh shit, that's a lot of accounts, and you used a word like taxable brokerage and it's making me think, what the hell? Take a deep breath, calm down, because you're probably already doing some of these things. If you, for example, already have your emergency fund separated out into a high yield savings account, congratulations, you're done with step one. Good for you. If you don't, today is a great day to open a high yield savings account. A high yield savings account is simply a savings account that has a higher yield, aka a higher interest rate on it, than the ones from the major banks. If you do your banking at Bank of America or Chase or Wells Fargo, you can see that you're only getting 0.01% interest on those accounts. So moving to a high yield savings account that even has a 0.5% interest rate is a way for your money to make more money without you having to do anything. Doing nothing is literally my favorite way of making money. Now let's talk about these investment accounts. If you already have a workplace retirement plan, like a 401k or a 403b, congratulations, you've already got one investment account. If you don't have one of these plans available through work, I suggest that you look into opening an IRA. This stands for an individual retirement account, and it's a great tool to start saving and investing for retirement. And yes, you can also open an IRA even if you have a 401k or some other workplace retirement plan. I'll link to more information on IRAs in the description. Step 4, find ways to cut your expenses and/or increase your income. Cutting your expenses and increasing your income are two sides of the same coin. See what I did there? Money jokes. The less you spend, the more you save. The more you earn, the more you save. The more you save, the faster you'll reach financial independence. For most of us, cutting expenses is going to be an immediate action. You can wake up tomorrow and cancel your Netflix account and save yourself $12. You can wake up tomorrow and go in and ask for a raise from work, but there's no guarantee you're going to get it. So cutting your expenses is an immediate win, but there's only so much you can cut. Like, we all gotta eat, we all need a place to live, we all have hobbies that we wanna enjoy doing because that's life, baby, you should enjoy yourself. For most of us, there's no limit to how much money we can earn, especially if we are earning money from a diversity of places. So you can ask for a raise at work, or you can job hop chasing higher salaries, and you can have something like a side hustle, and you can build passive streams of income via different investment vehicles, like real estate or dividend investing. I'll link a few articles in the description about different side hustles and diversifying your income. Your money journey is your own money journey. Don't worry about trying to perfectly mimic someone else's or keep up with someone else on their own road. We don't know other people's financial lives. Like, maybe they're the beneficiary of generational wealth. Maybe they live with 4 roommates and that's how they're only paying $500 a month in rent. We don't know. So instead of comparing yourself to other people and maybe feeling those feelings of judgment or embarrassment again, listen to other people, take what works for you, and then leave the rest. Okay, y'all, those are your 4 steps to financial independence, even if you make a normal income. I would love to hear from y'all in the comments about your thoughts on financial independence, what you're doing to achieve financial independence, if you're new to this, if it's old hat for you. I would also love it if you became a patron if you are into supporting this kind of content. And finally, we would appreciate a like and a subscribe.